Welcome to Treehouse Bakery. In this video, I make my best-selling Biscoff Blondies. I'm Stephanie. That's me, scoffing a blondie. Let's get started. First step is to make some flax eggs by pouring water over ground flaxseed and mixing it up until combined. At this stage, let me apologize for the weird kind of filming angle. I'm still working things out in my kitchen and how is going to be best to film. This video works okay, which is why I've used it, but I promise it'll be better in the future. So I just melted some baking spread over a low heat without letting it bubble. Now you absolutely can melt that in the microwave, I just don't have a microwave. Now we're going to add all the brown sugar all in one go, and these flax eggs that you'll see now are not so watery anymore and a bit more gel-like. Scrape all that flax out because you're going to want that for the air texture inside the blondie. Mix these all together until it is one homogeneous mixture. It's going to look sort of like a caramel coloured liquid, and you're going to see flecks of flax in there. Flecks of flax, wow, that's fun to say. The flecks of flax are totally fine. So now it's time to add the dry ingredients. So I'm going to tip all the flour in all at once. And then we've got Biscoff crumbs. So I'm actually not going to add all of these. I'm going to add most of them. I'm going to save maybe like a quarter to decorate at the end. So now we've got to just mix this all up together. Now it will take a few minutes because it gets quite a stiff mixture, and it's like cookie dough almost. And yeah, it takes a while of mixing by hand, but you definitely want to do this by hand because in a mixer it'll get like too glutinous and you won't get that nice texture. But here we are eventually with no big lumps of flour. Now I've already lined this baking tin with reusable parchment, and I'm gonna put all of my all of my brownie mixture into this tin and spread it around. I am really thorough about scraping out this saucepan for good reason. These blondies will be delicious, and so every bite counts. So yeah, again, it is quite a stiff dough, so like spreading it into the corners can be quite tricky. Well, not so tricky as just time consuming, so have a little patience and yeah, take your time, push it into the corners, use your spatula, do as best as you can to just smooth out the top so that it's an even layer. And now we're ready for the oven. It's going to go in for about 35 minutes, but it's already done. And I don't test this with a skewer, I test it with the very complex shake method just to see that the sides and top are set. Now this is cooled completely before I turn it out and take the parchment off the bottom. Now again, if you're using reusable parchment, which you should be using, take your time and do it so as not to like shred it or rip it up. Obviously the disposable stuff comes off a little bit easier. Yeah, don't be shy about just flipping this around because it is fairly sturdy. Now you can cut it into whatever size you like. I'm going for 12 big pieces because why not? I like a big blondie because they're really moreish and like one little bite is just rubbish. So here's what they look like in the middle. That's an edged piece, so it's maybe a bit crustier, but let's look at a middle piece. And you can see it's cooked all the way through, but it's still nice and gooey inside. And we've got that crispy crust on the top. Now, because I'm fancy, I am stacking mine up on a cake stand. I'm going to do a layer of blondies and then drizzle with melted Biscoff spread. Just really generously. I actually have played around with doing like really neat piping, but I think I much prefer this sort of rustic look. And now I'm going to sprinkle some Biscoff crumbs over the top as well, and just repeat this process one layer at a time until you've used up all your blondies and you've got a beautiful stack of Biscoff blondies dripping in spread, sprinkled with crumbs. Good enough to eat. If you like the look of these blondies, you can buy a kit on my website and have it delivered straight to your door with all the ingredients you need. I'll link to it in the episode description. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe to this channel. I'll be sharing original recipes as well as tutorials of Treehouse products, including a brand new recipe coming next week. So if you're not based in the UK or you just don't want to buy my stuff, that's cool. This channel will have content for you too. Finally, please share this video with someone. It will help to grow a small business, and you can have contests to see who can say flecks of flax the fastest.